sign into YouTube and subscribe to our YouTube channel and give us a thumbs up. Now enjoy CineTalk with the one and only Cinebros.
What's up, Cinemaniacs? We are back, and who are we? We are the Cinebros from Movie House Maniacs, which is kind of confusing, but if you go to youtube.com/the Movie House Maniacs, you will find us, which we are the Cinebros, and the Cinebros are from facebook.com/the Cinebros.
Oh boy.
Yes, very confusing, but if you type in CineTalk or Cinebros, I'm sure you'll find us. You can also find us, obviously, at YouTube, which is our most important place where we do all our videos and reviews and all that stuff. But this show is a movie talk, kind of movie talk related show. Sometimes we go into the TV side of things. Sometimes we just start talking about jarts, which I think we did on the last time I had Chad on. We were talking about jarts, yes. But who do we have on today? That is the man himself, DJ Darth Vader. Yeah, that's right.
I'm back. I just say it every time I go.
Yeah, and what are we going to be talking about today? That is, the X-Men. That's right.
Dun, dun, dun. Got my shirt right there.
Yes, we are going to be talking about the X-Men because X-Men Apocalypse
this week
comes out on Thursday.
Ready? The team's getting ready.
I love that bell too.
Yeah.
Bong. So good. Should we just let this ride out and just kind of like stare at the X-Men? The great one of the greatest cartoons of the 90s.
I think I've probably seen every one of them too.
Yeah. I've seen, I would say, a majority.
Yeah. I loved every...
I've seen them all, but I haven't seen them in such a long time.
Yeah.
My brother.
Wait.
Yeah, that little at the end. Yeah. My brother actually owns the whole series.
Oh man.
Yeah. So
I had them for a while, and then I may have attained them through less than legal means in the early 2000s.
You sold a kidney for black market,
LimeWire and BearShare, kind of like Kazaa, days. Those kind of days where you could download stuff and get virus-infested computers.
Yes.
Well, I mean, you can kind of do that now, but you can
definitely do that now.
Yeah.
It's kind of a little more easier to get this stuff now than it used to be.
Yeah.
It's still very illegal, and you have the potential to get a virus, but the computers are so good nowadays that it's a little easier.
Maybe I would like to think that maybe people are a little less dick. Maybe. No.
Probably not, no. Probably not.
Is the lighting okay in here for you?
Yeah, I think so. I haven't focused in on you yet. I can do that if I'm hitting the wrong keyboard. But yeah, you look good.
No, I'm talking about you. Your lighting over there is the one we always have.
I think it's fine
a
here.
Derailment.
The only problem is that you can kind of see the picture in my frame a little bit. But it is what it is. You focus in on me, you see it a little bit right here.
Oh, nice.
It's a little bit. No, I just wanted to get out a little bit so I'm a little more in focus because I've noticed that the camera isn't so in focus when I had it zoomed in a little bit.
Yeah.
So I zoomed it out a little touch, but now you can see the TV.
Oh boy.
Yeah. Good times.
We just lost all the viewers.
Why? Because they can see me more in focus?
No.
I'm talking about
the ramble. That's it.
All right. So what we're going to be talking about today for our pretty much the whole episode is going to be inundated with X-Men talk. And that is going to be possibly some of the cartoon from the 90s in there. Maybe a little Evolution, a little, X-Men Wolverine that they had. They also had a cartoon that did that for about a season.
Yeah.
There's a lot of stuff that we could go into.
Yeah.
The universe is very vast, but we're going to be basically talking about the movies for the most part.
Right.
We're going to talk our favorite top 3 films. Our least favorite, the two least favorite films, because there's only several in this universe. Favorite characters, good and bad. Least favorite, these favorite and least favorite villains.
Yeah,
we're gonna probably touch on a little bit. Maybe even get onto some of the friends and fans questions and comments and stuff like that you had on your page. What were you gonna say?
I said word.
Yeah,
I'm on board.
Yeah, and then we're gonna talk about maybe even who we might want to see in the future, some future films, as far as these X-Men characters go.
Yeah,
I have a good and a bad one, good guy and a bad guy that I want to see in the universe. Yeah, basically because I just have I have fond memories, but also like serious anger towards one of the characters. Not serious anger. I was a little kind of I hated the character whenever he popped up.
Yeah.
So in the cartoon. In the animated series.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And he's yet to be seen on
I kind of.
Okay.
Kind of, sorta.
I'm intrigued.
Yeah, so,
please continue.
So what we'll start off with is we're just going to dive right in and go into what our favorite 3 movies are. Go from least favorite in the top 3 to most favorite. And if you want, I'll start off.
Yeah, go for it.
And my least favorite of the top 3 is Deadpool. I mean, it's definitely deserves the right to be in, I think, anybody's top 5 comic book movies. Yeah. But, this franchise... Right. It kind of weaved its way in. Yeah,
because it's a Fox proproperty. Yeah. Like it makes
sense. And they mentioned Wolverine. Yeah. They talked about Colossus. Obviously, Colossus was in it. They had a new character, Negasonic Teenage Warhead, who was freaking awesome in the movie. And just like overall, Ajax, everybody that was in it, obviously very X-Men oriented. Right. It was an R-rated, very meta, but it was so well done. Right. It's so good. And it's a laugh a minute. I mean, the movie's just really funny. And I think you'd be hard pressed to find people that didn't like it. Yeah. What is your third out of this group?
I'd say I'll keep Deadpool. I'll keep Deadpool where it's at for
in the third,
because it's definitely there. So like, I just want to talk about the my top 3. Yeah. I don't know if I have really a favorite over them, because like I don't want to pick Deadpool as my number 1 because it's not an X-Men movie. Yeah. But it is.
It kind of. They're gonna cross over. Whether it be X-Force or whatever. Yeah, they're gonna do a crossover.
So I think I'd keep Deadpool in there for number 3. Sure. Yeah. I think for the minuses that it has, the issues that I have with the movie, which are pretty minor, it's still way better than the bombs that
they have a few.
Than the holes that some of the X-Men movies had. So
I mean, in addition to that, we are, because of Deadpool's success, we are going to get the Wolverine movie that we wanted.
That we've always wanted. What is it, like not the movie that you need right now, but the movie that you deserve? Yeah, and we deserve a fucking rated R
Wolverine movie. Because I mean, his character, out of any of the actual X-Men characters, he is the only one that really deserves. You could potentially get into a Magneto like villainous movie with him being an R-rated character, just because he's so. He can be very evil. Yeah. My brother will fight people to the end of Earth saying that he is not a villain. He just has a different perspective.
I do kind of agree with Casey.
And I think that Adolf Hitler also had a different perspective as well. So there's that's just saying another way of being villainous. When you're fighting against, and it's not like he's doing what like Martin Luther King did, where he just wanted to march and get people on board of integration, and all that stuff with everyone. He just was like, he's like, forget you, we're better. I'm just gonna destroy you all. You're gonna die. Like that's how
he just has regret or remorse, like hindsight. You know what I mean? It's like, well, maybe I made a bad decision. It's like, but I was always thinking like
later on in Days of Future Past. But as far as Deadpool, I mean, it's going to be great because we're going to be getting Wolverine, which is R-rated. Hopefully, telling that kind of Old Man Logan storyline.
It's just a cool. It's
Professor
just a gritty,
X is supposed to be in that movie, and it's.
It would just be a gritty movie, like a cool
and get to see him actually rage out. Yes. Probably more than once. Like we've only gotten in a couple of the movies.
In X2, because like he did that whole like berserker moment, like jumping off the fucking balcony to the second story, and
and stabbing people in the chest and
screaming
at them.
Yeah, in the fridge, he just runs somebody right to the right. Oh man, so dope.
And you'll get to see that, but to another level. You'll get to see the blood. A limb may be missing. Something. Go crazy,
flying off at the screen. You're like, what the fuck was that?
Exactly.
Oh, it was an arm. Oh, my bad.
So that's what I'm excited for. I'm excited to see all that, and I'm excited to kind of finally get the the Wolverine movie that we've all wanted.
Yeah.
So my second favorite on this list is X2.
Yeah.
There was a commenter on a friend of
Andrew.
yours,
Andrew.
who basically said that it is his least, like his biggest bomb or whatever. First of all, it is not a bomb, nor critically or monetarily.
Right.
It was probably close to a 90% on Rotten Tomatoes. Also made a buttload of money.
Yeah.
The movie was, in my opinion, up until Days of Future Past, was the best X-Men movie. Because it is so well balanced.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of humor in it. They have a couple little sprinkles here and there, but it's so well balanced, focusing kind of on Wolverine and him getting, figuring out who he is. But some of the fight scenes and it was not a large spectrum film. Like, this isn't like a global film. This is a very tight quarters kind of fighting, with him and whatever that, I can't remember what her name is.
Lady Deathstrike.
Yes, Lady Deathstrike.
Kelly Hughes.
That fight scene that they had was so well done. Yeah. And I just love how, like, he, sees, like, how he, like, starts cutting her and then sees her, kind of regenerate and reheal. And then he's just kind of like, oh crap. Like,
there's another one in me.
There's another one just like me. This is not good.
Yeah.
And, grows her fingers. Like, oh, it's so good. And like just Brian Cox, obviously, as, kind of the main villain, Stryker.
Yeah, Strikers. He nailed that role.
He was so great. And then Magneto kind of joining forces with the X-Men, but kind of
his own purpose.
His own purpose, and goes in. Oh, it's so well done. The whole movie was just so
Rebecca Romaine's
good.
part where they infiltrate the base, like, to get that part, like, it was cool.
Rebecca Romaine, still,
we know how you feel about her.
She is.
She's the only Mystique that did like a decent one.
I just saw a recent picture of like Ian McKellen and all them kind of, and with Mystique as Rebecca Romaine, just sitting there, and there was like a perfect picture of just all of them. I'm like, that is so Mystique. That is the perfect Mystique. Why did they let her like go? All I see is Jennifer Lawrence. I can't get over it. If you have to go into like a miscast, I feel like Jennifer Lawrence is probably the biggest miscast in X-Men, in almost comic book franchise, because I cannot get past. She seems like she is licking the stamp, putting it on the envelope, and mailing her performance in just for a paycheck every single time. I do not buy her. I don't buy her as this limber, nimble, quick assassin.
Yeah.
I don't buy it. I don't buy it at all. And they, so much so, they've turned her into a good person.
Yeah.
That Mystique is not a good person. Oh my gosh. So whatever. I could get on that for over and over again, but she's not the only miscast one, obviously, but that's one of them. What's your second in the list? If you're not going in order, you can just name another one.
Oh, well, X2 is on there. I think X2 is probably going to be my favorite.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's so good.
It's just really good. Action packed. I love the Wolverine Weapon X story.
Yeah.
So like when they get and start delving into that, like I really dig it. So like the fact that it was showing Stryker and how he went to,
how they show him waking up.
Yeah,
and
dude, that scene is so dope, because like even in like the comics and then even in the animated show, like they do, it's very well done. Like it's very the adaptation is done very, very well.
Yeah.
Which a lot of this stuff doesn't get adapted very well, which
some of it does,
some of it does,
yeah.
but some of it doesn't.
Yeah.
And that's why I think a lot of people really dug Deadpool, is because it was such a good adaptation. And things like that.
That's one of the things we all commented on during our after watching Deadpool. It was probably the truest from comic to movie adaptation that we've ever gotten
of recent times.
Yeah, I
like Blade. I think Blade's a good.
Blade's really, I guess that is a good one. I don't know,
that movie just holds just a different place
it's
in my heart. You know what I mean? Because it's like
R-rated.
That's dark.
And it deserves to be R-rated.
Yeah. So X2 is probably going to be my favorite.
Yeah.
Only because I think it's got and even there are some holes in it and some things that I think are kind of slow and dragging, like the Nightcrawler's part. Like I love was it Alan Cummings?
Yeah.
I love him as an actor, but it was
there was a couple of parts in that were slow, but that opening sequence.
Yeah.
With him. Yeah. Breaking into the White House.
Yeah. Cool.
Holy crap.
Great.
That's like one of those oh shit moments when you're in the theater and you're watching that go on and you're just like, That's freaking unbelievable.
Yeah,
That's
that
so
part was
incredibly
really great,
awesome.
But that's not a lot of him. You know what I mean? Because it's
he's under
the
control,
stunt double
kinda.
and all that other stuff. Basically, you know what I mean? Like his act, like his moments where he's like really conflicted and doing all that stuff and whatever. Like it just kind of dragged on a little bit for me with that. But like for overall, I think that's probably my favorite X-Men movie.
Yeah. It's really good. My favorite one is X-Men Days of Future Past. And it narrowly edges out X2. No, it narrowly edges out X2 for me, because Days of Future Past to me is just, it was like a dark, and there was times where there wasn't much action. You kind of really had to rely on the actors, like especially with like James McAvoy and Fassbender and the airplane and all that kind of stuff. There's just some sequences that are just so incredibly well done with emotion. Like, you know, you have
Fassbender does such a good. That is so good.
McAvoy when he's kind of dealing with his issues with, you know, being paralyzed from the waist down. There's just so many things that are just heart wrenching and really actually make a really good film. Not just a comic book movie. And then on top of that, you get some great action sequence, like Magneto raising a whole freaking stadium. Was it RFK? Is that what it's saying? So. The Redskins Stadium, raising it up and bringing it out and controlling all of the, you know, the Sentinels and stuff. So incredibly awesome.
I loved all the 70s time frame in that movie.
Quicksilver,
he stole the show. That one scene stole.
That's what everybody was talking about. I mean, for me, that was an amazing scene. I loved it, but there's so many other parts in that movie that I love.
I think, and then there's another. So from what I'm told, there's another scene.
Yeah, I heard that he
gets another scene like that. But it's just as good,
if not better. Yeah, that's what I've heard too.
So I'm really looking forward to that, because Evan Peters is cool.
He's great. He's a good actor. He's fun. They're playing to his
strengths.
Like
it's written good for him, because like he's kind of quirky, kind of does that, you know, like color cocky thing. I dig it. Days of Future Past would probably be in my top 3 as well. I loved all the, like I said, I loved all the 70s, you know, time period stuff. I think Peter Dinklage is a great. A great casting choice as Trask. He's
good.
Such a good actor. Game of Thrones.
Elf.
I know. I like to bust his chops about not seeing Game of Thrones.
I've seen Elf.
Yeah, but he did great. Even I think, and I'm on board with you for. I think Jennifer Garner did a better job in that movie than she did in First Class.
What's that? Oh, Jennifer Lawrence.
Yeah, or Jennifer Lawrence. Yeah. Sorry, not Garner.
So
I think she did better. She's doing better. I
think she's getting worse.
Really?
Yeah.
Because she's getting good. Like
being
good.
No, I don't like her performance at all. I don't like the makeup.
She's definitely the weakest link of it.
And that's the problem, is that they're shifting focus from Wolverine, who's great.
Yeah.
And I need to talk to Jason Palermo real quick. I cannot believe at all that you would ever think that Wolverine is miscast.
I was gonna say we could get that to the miscast.
I just need
to rant. Fine, let's do it.
A lot of these movies,
rant time.
You know, X2, even Deadpool, all that stuff are all revolving around Wolverine, who is a very integral part into every single movie that is in this universe. And he's telling me that he was miscast. Now, granted, what's the issue? I don't understand why he would be miscast. He's got the hair. He's got the look. He's huge. The way they introduced him in the first X-Men movie, which is amazing, in that cage fight scene and stuff like that, so freaking awesome.
Yeah.
Now, the only thing I can say is maybe he has a gripe with like height.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, my biggest problem with the height issue is that Wolverine. It's supposed to be like 5'3".
Yeah, he's supposed to be a short guy.
Supposed to be really short and stocky.
Yeah.
Now, if that's your biggest gripe, who the freaking hell are you going to cast? Like Joe Pesci? All right, guys, I'm about to go berserker. Okay, guys. You know what? Maybe like
that wasn't a bad Pesci. I like it.
Danny DeVito. Yeah. What do you? I mean, who? Yeah. Seth Green.
Right.
Who are you going to freaking cast that short? That's going to get that jacked.
Yeah.
And you'd really play off. I mean, yes, you could get somebody that's not like super short. That's maybe like 5'7", like Tom Cruise, or I don't know, like Dave Franco, or somebody like that could possibly bulk up. But that's not. It's just I can't see Wolverine, because you need somebody that's going to get. And Jackman has gotten jacked, bigger and bigger for every single performance, to the point of now, I mean, you can't not see him as Wolverine.
Yeah.
He's so good. Fits that role perfectly. Perfect. I don't understand. You have to elaborate when you say Hugh Jackman was miscast as Wolverine, because I think you might be the only person
that thinks that,
and it may be the 1% of people that think that he was miscast. I now, if this was before X-Men franchise started, you were probably in the top 90%. Most people thought he was miscast. Too big, too lanky, unknown, all this kind of stuff. But I mean, he killed it in the first movie. He killed it. So, all right.
You all right?
Yeah, I think so. Take a deep breath. Maybe take a sip of coffee.
Woosah. Brian's favorite X-Men movie was
The Brian Man?
Yeah. He commented on my post earlier.
First Class.
First Class.
Yeah. We're going to get into the least favorite.
Yeah.
Since unless you want to kind of elaborate on your movies at all.
No, because like, we're both kind of like, on the same page.
Back and forth. Yeah. The least favorite. Yeah. My second to least favorite X-Men movie is X-Men First Class. I absolutely the first time I watched it, I think I gave it like a 7 out of 10.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it. I was like, oh, that was pretty good. It was a pretty good adaptation. Went from The Last Stand, which wasn't that great. The more I watched The Last Stand, and there are some great moments in The Last Stand. Like some of the best moments in the history of X-Men in that movie. It falls really flat in some parts, but there are some great moments.
Like
when Professor X dies.
Okay. I was like, I'll give you that one.
That is a moment that is, to this day, the only time I have ever cried in a theater on a comic book movie. I actually thought he died. And I leapt out of my seat at the very end during the after credit sequence when realizing that he transferred his consciousness into his twin or whatever it was. I leapt out of my seat. I was like, he didn't die! I'm like, yes, thank goodness. I freaked out when that happened. Obviously, they couldn't kill him, but I was really taken with that movie. I did like the fight sequence in that whole thing with like Juggernaut, Storm, all that. That was a pretty cool fight sequence in the house where it's kind of like lifting up and spinning around. Like it was. I thought that whole scene was really well done. The introduction to like how they got Juggernaut and all that kind of stuff was okay. I didn't really like the casting so much because they made him a little too jokey, I want to say. It was like he's really dumb. He's a dumb dude. They should have played to that, and they didn't really. They just kind of had him run through walls and with Kitty, who ran through the walls.
I think she was a good cast.
Yeah, she was good too. I mean, there was a lot of good and there was also a lot of bad.
I was saying with the Juggernaut is like they were going off of that fucking internet thing that blew up. I'm the Juggernaut, bitch.
Yeah,
that whole video, that thing that came out. So it was like,
and
I get it. And I can't remember what his name is. I like the actor because he's in Snatch, and I fucking love that movie.
Yeah.
But Bullet Tooth Tony or something like that.
Yeah. I think that's what it is. Yeah. So we definitely that's probably my X-Men First Class is probably my second favorite because there is
least favorite. Yeah.
The second least favorite. Yeah. They is probably because one of their best characters, which was I think his name was Kazazel. He was kind of like what Nightcrawler was. Yeah. He could disappear, come back, and go all these different places. He was such a cool character. Gave him no lines.
Yeah, Azazel.
He was probably that's what it was. And he was all over the place. He was their coolest character on the villain side. Yeah. Because I didn't buy Kevin Bacon really the whole time. I thought they had a pretty interesting sequence with him and Magneto as a young kid and all, because that was kind of cool and all that kind of stuff. And there were some cool scenes like with Magneto in that kind of saloon type place where he was, in the bar and he's going after there were some cool scenes. But overall, the more I watch that movie, the more holes I find and the worse I find that movie. Yeah. And to the point now, I have a hard time finishing it. I didn't really care for the new way that they touched on how how Professor X became paralyzed. I thought they could have made that really good. Yeah. But they've never really kept on with that feud and how like they never really got into it. Like where you made me paralyzed and all that kind of stuff. There's no real hatred there because Professor X is who Professor X is.
Yeah.
And so I've never really. A lot of that movie just doesn't make a lot of sense, and I've never really cared for it because I found that, and what to me, the more I watch, I actually liked Last Stand more than First Class because of the big moments that were in that movie.
Yeah.
Now, what about you?
First Class is one of my least favorites.
Is it?
Yeah.
Wow. I can't believe we're on the same page here because a lot of people that's in like their top.
I like the movie, and I think the only thing it's preventing me or that why I'm adding it is because the other movies I have to choose from would be the first X-Men movie. Mm-hmm. Well, you know what? Yeah, would be the first X-Men movie, and I'm not gonna pick the first one because it's kind of the introduction to everybody, and like I feel like with Iron Man, I kind of feel the same way about that.
It was
you
so
can't
good.
get to, you know, I think there are a lot of holes in the first X-Men movie. I didn't like the senator that they were, you know, the blob that they turned him into.
Yeah, no, that was a little weird.
A lot of that stuff in there. And I actually think one of the biggest miscasts in this whole franchise is Anna Paquin for Rogue. I cannot stand her as Rogue. I think she's awful.
Yeah,
because she's like this little meek and that's not who Rogue is.
No.
It's
also.
Is she on here? Yeah, this buxom beauty right here, and on that you know thing, she is not that meek. She's powerful. Like she had like a tough time growing up, but she's still
and she still struggles with it from time to time.
Yeah, she's still spunky and fiery, and she's got a shit ton of attitude. And like that's the Rogue that like. That's the Rogue I like.
Yeah,
and you don't get that.
They did that with Cyclops a little too. They kind of
they made him kind of whiny. That was like the physical casting of him. The
great.
Guy is great. He looks like Scott Marsden looks like him. You know, he could definitely pull it off. They just made him into a little whiny wiener.
Yeah, he was a little on. They really did kind of make him. And you always see in like the animated series, even the comic books and stuff like that. You'll see him kind of go toe to toe, especially verbally, with Wolverine.
Yeah.
But he kind of was more of like, when he tried to come back with insults, it was like, you almost like hated him. Yeah. Like you shouldn't. He should be protecting his girl, and you should kind of be like, all right, he kind of got Wolverine there because he's supposed to be the leader. He's supposed to be smarter. Yeah. He's supposed to be, and he could never really stay toe to toe. Yeah. And I loved it in the movies because I'm a bigger fan of Wolverine.
Everybody. I think a lot of people are a bigger fan of Wolverine. So that natural shift, obviously goes there because between X1 and X2, you kind of like like X1's not about Wolverine. Right. It's about her. It's about Rogue. Yeah. And so like she's the intro, and then like it kind of transitions, from there. So it's like that was just a big miscast. And for like First Class for me, I did not like Kevin Bacon in that role at all.
He was. There was parts that were
some of the and I do like some of the original call outs to some of the original uniforms and stuff like that for the original X-Men, and I did dig that Havoc was there and that Havoc is one of the original X-Men, and a lot of people don't really know that unless you're like really like a good fan of the actual original comic books, because in the 90s or the animated series, which a lot of people are, he's there, but like he's not an original member, right? What I mean? Like that kind of thing. So there was just like some misses for me, and obviously Jennifer Lawrence isn't a good thing for me. But McAvoy kills Professor X. It was a great cast. I like McAvoy as Professor X, and so like it's hard because the movie that I'm gonna pick as my least favorite is there for a reason, and I can't and the other movies, like there are too good of things for it not to be. So okay, so go ahead. My least favorite is Last Stand. The Last Stand. Yeah.
And because of your attachment to Phoenix.
Well, a lot of things. Yeah, they butchered the Phoenix saga. Like that thing was a cool
Brett
part.
Ratner, baby. Yeah, stepped in at the last minute.
It was such a bad thing for them to just kind of shove in there. They didn't explain it. They butchered the story basically because it's not supposed to be some mental block inside of her that Professor X put in there or whatever. That's like, no, she goes like it's an outer space kind of thing, and they haven't
sci-fi.
They haven't gone there, so like I get it, but like they just butchered it. Like I did not like it at all.
Interesting.
Even like the Worthington, like how they made the angel and like all that shit, like some of that stuff, and it was just a little too hokey and just like a little far gone for me. I was not a fan.
Yeah, my least favorite. I mean, I can understand because I can understand, especially someone who really likes that saga. That's especially in the animated series.
Yeah,
I can understand why somebody would be.
Because she's a badass.
Yeah,
she's not
and
supposed to.
She kind of was a badass.
Yeah, she was badass, but it was like it was like
different.
It was like gothy, or not gothy, but it was like I don't know. It was just weird. It's like zombie. I don't know, because like Famke Janssen's hot, and like the way that I don't know, they paled her out and like made her. It was gross.
Yeah. Well, I obviously have a different feeling about that. It's not in my top 5.
Yeah.
It's probably in the bottom 4 for that movies because I do understand the flaws with that movie.
Yeah.
And I actually disliked that movie a lot more when I first watched it, besides the oh crap moments that were in that. But I disliked it more the first time I watched it because I just like thinking about all the plot holes, thinking about the Phoenix Saga and all that kind of stuff, and how they didn't really touch base, really didn't adapt it well. But then after that, I watched it more and more, and the moments that are just like so good in that movie, I liked more and more and more. So it actually raised it up a little bit after the more I watched it. But my least favorite is probably X-Men Wolverine Origins because there are just so many departures from like everything. You know, when you have Wolverine, who he's a badass, but I like my favorite part about this movie is the that sequence where they're there as X-Force.
Yeah.
They're together. Deadpool is still Ryan Reynolds, and he's a mercenary, and they're out there and they're kicking ass.
Yeah.
My favorite scene in that movie, which is sad, my favorite scene in that movie is when Ryan Reynolds cuts the bullet in half. The bullets go, kill 2 people.
That whole scene is dope.
It's amazing. He goes in there. It's just it's so sick. Like you were like, oh, they got Deadpool right. They're gonna change him into Deadpool, and it's gonna be amazing. Yeah. And then it just went down one after another. It just got worse and worse. And then there's other characters in there too. I'm trying to blank right now. After who else? Like just I remember being like even like the Blob.
Yeah.
How they made him kind of that. He was just so weak.
Yeah.
Like I mean, he was strong in the boxing ring and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But he was funny, but they didn't utilize him enough.
That like the guy, the actor that they got to play him is like a decent actor.
Yeah, he is.
Like
and I just remember, I feel like they should have been able to use him a little bit more. I don't know if it was a money thing with the CG that they had to use and all that stuff, but they could have made him a lot cooler of a character, utilized him a little bit more, you know, stop getting rid of a lot of those side characters and, you know, kind of use more of the, like even Will.i.am, who was also pretty miscast. And
that's what a guy commented on my post. James said it was like the biggest, there's a couple people have said that Will.i.am was the biggest miscast.
He's a big miscast. I think it was Taylor Kitsch that was...
Taylor Kitsch was Gambit,
and I think that he would have been a very good Gambit. Yeah. As if they actually made him more like Gambit.
Gambit is by far my favorite X-Men character. Period.
Right. Which
I've said before. Yeah. And Taylor Kitsch is a good casting for that. Mm-hmm. It's the story and the delivery and all that shit that ruined him because he is amazing. They just made him turn out to be a pussy. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, he's not a pussy. He could stand toe to toe with Wolverine and stuff for a while. Yeah. Keep him at bay, keep him at distance. Like they would go for a while. Mm-hmm. I think they would. A good fight scene would actually enter with him, and not just getting his ass kicked in like the first like 5 seconds. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like the one scene where he's able to like draw up the cards is cool and like deliver
there
that.
There are cool moments.
But the overall,
you didn't get that Cajun kind of the almost like double agent kind of.
Like the story behind him, like I'm praying that they actually. I don't know if they ever will.
Are you sad that how do you feel about the Gambit movie getting shelved?
I'm a little upset about it, but I wasn't completely sold on the Chan man being the guy,
or as Chad likes to call him, Tanning Tatum.
Yeah, I wasn't too sold on him being the guy. I was like, you almost
want Taylor Kitsch to come back.
I was willing to go with it because I want the movie to be made because his origin story and the Prince of Thieves and like the guilds and stuff, like it's a really cool story to tell. And like he just like they just really ruined the character for me, and Deadpool too. But like I wasn't as big of a fan of Deadpool. Like I kind of came on, late in the game with stuff. Dude, I've always been a fan of Gambit since like the 90s. Like, dude,
I think anybody
in school I studied fucking sleight of hand tricks with cards to like, fuck. I can throw card. I could go throw a card and knock Obi-Wan off the shelf.
Relax.
I won't do it. I'll calm down. But I'm just saying I could. You know what I mean? It's just like that's like the biggest fuck up. It's not a miscast. It's just a fuck up in that movie.
Yeah.
But to me, that movie, there are good things in that movie which outweigh Last Stand for me because I like certain parts of that movie which will outweigh it for me because like
I like it. I think anybody that's watched the 90s cartoon likes Gambit. I mean, he is such a cool character.
And it's funny, like he's like just a
he's
cool,
funny, and he macking on the ladies.
Him and Rogue, dude, he gets it down. Speedo.
I had to put
you
that
had
in
to
there.
put that one in there.
So that was like, oh my
Oh,
lord.
Remy.
Yeah. Remy LeBeau.
Remy LeBeau.
So yeah, I mean, he is such a cool, fun character, and they kind of really took stories and kind of ruined both of these characters, which is unfortunate because, Taylor Kitsch could have been a good Gambit. I'm kind of on the fence. I think if they gave, what's her name for Rogue? Anna Paquin, yeah. If they gave her a little bit more to do with her character, but they made her kind of like what they did with Scott.
I don't think that. I think Anna Paquin's just a miscast completely. Anyway.
She's small
because she's small and she's still meek in some of the other roles that she's been in. Like I watched like that movie Vampire, the True Blood show or whatever, and she was kind of like the Southern Belle, like man, that kind of thing too. But it's like that's not. She's Southern and like whatever, but she's not. She's that.
Yeah.
That's not Anna Paquin.
She's a 5'10",
Yeah, big hair, like, that whole thing.
The
like,
80s hair.
Yeah, why not? Fuck it. I had a huge crush on her.
So, I mean,
as a kid. As a prepubescent male, how can you not fucking love that girl?
Right,
you know what I mean? She got big boobs. That's it.
Nice one piece.
Yeah. Spandex everywhere.
If we had to go, spandex everywhere. If we had to go into favorite characters, you already touched on yours.
Yeah.
Obviously, Wolverine is mine in this franchise. I've always loved him. I just love the whole rage side of it. It's kind of how I approached baseball, like a little bit internally when I played. I played at a decently high level, and when I approached baseball in my mind, I was always very angry and. To be able to really get myself fired up to go after the game. And it kind of was like, but he's more anger right out there.
Yeah.
Me, I'm like internally, like, I'm like, motherfucking the pitcher. I'm like, I'm going to take you deep, like all that stuff while I'm, getting myself really fired up. And then like, when I always bolted out of the box, as fast as I could, running down the line, get as many bases as I could, all that kind of stuff. That's how I played. And I kind of, that's kind of so there's a little relatable factor. Yeah. I obviously do not have claws. I wish I did, but that's another thing. Who doesn't want the healing factor? I mean, who does not want that healing factor?
Do whatever you wanted.
Oh my God, that'd be so amazing. Anyway, so we will. Who's your least favorite characters? If you had to go into, you go into the movie universe. If you want to go into the cartoon, you can. But who is your least favorite that you have seen? Like, we can't get into Age of Apocalypse really yet because we haven't seen it.
Right.
Who are your favorite movie characters? Like the good guys.
My favorite or my least favorite of them?
Favorite.
My favorite.
Yeah, let's go into the favorite villains.
My favorite villains.
Yeah, since we've already talked on the good guys.
You can't not have Magneto on there.
Magneto, okay.
Michael Fassbender is a fucking amazing actor. I love what he's done with like the reboot of it. Even Ian McKellen did a really good job of bringing Magneto to life.
I loved him.
I think both of them have been really good casts for both of those. So I think they've probably been my favorite. And you're not gonna like this, but I think Liev Schreiber in Origins was a good Sabretooth.
I can't even.
I know.
I can't even right now.
I know. But he is not a he's not a comic relevant character.
Right.
He is that movie's own character. And within that realm of that movie,
I hate that storyline.
I like it. I
hate the storyline of them being brothers. I hate him. You know, I don't like Sabretooth.
Him being
kind of beating the shit out of
him being
Wolverine
used,
from time to time.
and then him being used, and then being the.
I don't care about that. He was always used.
The antagonist.
That's I'm fine with. I can't stand him.
I like him better that way than being a mindless like red shirt, and that's kind of what he was.
Yeah.
In like the comic series, and even in the first movie, like he was like the higher. He looked better in the first movie. The guy that played him, I think that's your accurate, adaptation for that. That's the perfect adaptation for Sabretooth as far as that goes. But as far as like movie texture, delivering dialogue and speech and things like that, I liked that version.
But we don't know about this guy, how he would have delivered his lines, because he never got any.
Yep.
He had one line, I think, in the couple of movies that he's in. Yeah.
Yeah.
So I mean, it's
scream. Yeah. You owe me a scream. I think that's it. Yeah.
Yeah. It's so I don't know.
I like Liev Schreiber, so it wasn't a far stretch for me.
I mean, as far as like the good villains, I think Magneto is probably the best. I mean, he's just Stryker's really good.
I didn't even think about
Magneto's great.
Magneto, Stryker.
You could even put Mystique in there and all that kind of stuff. They all have their villainous moments. Juggernaut, all those characters, but. As far as
I should probably throw Stryker in there. I would probably throw Stryker in there above him. Yeah. Magneto and Stryker probably. Yeah. No, I don't know why I didn't even think about it, but yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, like you have.
I'm not writing anything down. I'm just trying to freeball it here, so I'm fucking up. Stryker, yes, definitely Stryker and Magneto.
So if I had to go into the comics and the cartoon side of it, it'd be Apocalypse. He would be the main man. I don't even know where his pictures are. But they're in here somewhere.
Sinister, that's a good one too.
There we go. If we had to go on Apocalypse, I mean,
you didn't get anything from
right there.
Yeah, you get anything from the actual the cartoon, the Apocalypse for the Entertainment Weekly.
But you have to admit, they really changed him up and changed him good.
They did very.
He looks pretty.
He doesn't even look like Oscar Isaac.
No, he doesn't.
You can't tell.
Look at that picture. Eyes white.
Yeah.
Exactly. So good.
Yeah.
So good.
I hope that they don't Ultron him.
Oh my God! If they do, I might get up and walk out.
Yeah. Because that's why I was telling you, I like Oscar Isaacs, and he has that fun he's a great actor so far, but Poe, and he's in Ex Machina, and a lot of those things where he's you see kind of his personality.
He's menacing, but at the same time,
you know what I mean. So I'm just please don't do that. Please don't Ultron him. Please don't Ultron him. That's one of my concerns.
That would make me very sad.
One of my concerns for that movie.
That would make me very sad. I mean, because obviously I have. If I can get in on close on me here, I have a nice little Apocalypse figure right here, and this is kind of the Apocalypse that we grew up with, kind of. And I love his character. I think he's freaking amazing, and I cannot wait to see. And I hope if you're gonna have an actor, especially seems to be on the top of their game right now, Oscar Isaac is amazing.
Yeah.
I'm hoping that he can pull it off. He's kind of a shorter guy too, 5'9" or something like that. You'd figure they'd want a kind of a bigger, bulkier guy, but
if they're going for range or whatever you want,
you want an actor, and I'm willing to give him the benefit of the doubt.
I am too, and that's why I'm just I'm worried that I'm a little worried. I'm not worried on his end, but I'm worried on on the other side.
Right.
Hopefully, they don't do that.
So if we were gonna go into characters that you haven't seen in a movie, yet that were in the animated series, or we'll go into the villainous side of it. Bad guy characters that you haven't seen in a movie yet, or that you and it could be in the comics or in the animated series. So what are somebody you might want to.
I was a big I still am, like vampire movies and stuff like that. So Morbius was one of the guys that I with like the trading cards and like stuff like that. I was like, oh yeah, vampires are cool. Like I like that guy. Or some of the, what's the name of them? You don't really get into any of Storm's like backstory and stuff like that when she goes into the kind of the underworld and finds out that she's been like a part of like the morphlings or
something like that.
Like Morlocks, that's what it is. There's the leader of the Morlocks. She has a cool story, and like that I would say, because I already saw one of the pictures that you're probably gonna pick from. So I don't want to go there as far as villain wise, because like they have had like some cool battles and stuff like that. Her and Storm. I like the guy that you're going to pick. Yeah. So I'll end.
So there. I have two. If I had to go, there's two characters.
Because this guy, the guy you picked, is on mine too. But I wanted to give some.
Right. So I have two characters, and one is a character that a lot of people know, and this is one of the characters I had talked about before that angered me whenever he showed up, because he was like almost like he couldn't be defeated, and it was very, very frustrating for me. And he never was able to be defeated, really, because he just keeps coming back. Yeah. And that is Nimrod. Yeah. And they kind of did that. And what I was meant before is they kind of did that with the upgraded Sentinels in Days of Future Past. Yeah. But they still did not they were Sentinels still. They weren't Nimrod. Nimrod, it was close. Yeah. It was close, but
it's like a hybrid kind of thing.
It is. It's like a little bit of the Sentinel, a little bit of that. Like Nimrod was totally different. Could go in and out of like he could time travel
with Bishop and all that stuff, dude.
It was so incredibly, and he just could not be defeated. They could not figure out a way. Couldn't be cut by Wolverine's claws. Yeah. Like he was just like impossible to defeat. Yeah. And then on plus of that, if he ever starts getting cornered, he can boom, see, I'm going to another time, and then he could come right back behind him if he wanted to. Yeah. He's just like one of those foes that always frustrated me whenever he showed up, because I was like, they can't defeat him, and this is annoying. Right. Like I want to make sure I want the hope of the X-Men being able to defeat the guy, and you just never really saw it. Like it was always kind of like, he's gonna kick their ass again. That sucks. And I didn't like feeling like the X-Men were outgunned and outmanned, kind of deal. Especially if it was only one person. But the real guy, the real deal, is Mr. Sinister.
Hell yeah.
If there's anybody that could follow Apocalypse, it would be this. And this is something that I was hoping that they were going to go into. Yeah. Instead of going into First Class, that this is what they were going to follow with Last Stand. It would have been the perfect thing, because you would have Mr. Sinister coming in after Scott has disappeared. Yeah. Because everybody knows that watch the cartoon, Scott has the only power that can defeat Mr. Sinister. Like he has like this impenetrable metal kind of armor on him. He has like telekinesis. He's got so many different cool powers.
A ton of stuff.
And
he's kind of been at the crossroads of like a bunch of different mutants. Like he's been there. Like he's been like the puppet master, kind of pulling the strings.
He kind of took some of the Four Horsemen away from Apocalypse.
Mystique.
And, he was a really powerful dude. Yeah.
And he looks fucking badass.
He does. He really does. I mean, so does Apocalypse. I mean, Apocalypse is sweet, but if you're gonna have a character follow up, you need someone like Mr. Sinister, and I would love to see him adapted.
Who do you think would be a good cast for that?
Well, Bryan Cranston came out a while ago and said that that's who he would like to play. Yeah. And
you could put a muscle suit on him. Why not?
Yeah, get him in the gym a little bit. Get him in there with Jackman.
He's not packing that much muscle on.
No. I mean, you obviously. I mean, Oscar Isaac isn't huge either, but they built a suit around him. Yeah. There's CG and stuff that could be used, but as far as you could get him, because Bryan Cranston isn't small. No. So you could get him in the gym with Hugh, get him bulking on, maybe add an extra 15 pounds of muscle, and then put him in a nice suit. He's got that look. He is he can do both kind of sarcastic humor and he's got a wide range. So I would love to see him in a role like that. That would be great. I would love to see Mr. Sinister in the movie. I wanted to touch on real quick, because you said Liv Schreiber before. Yeah. Something I circled because I didn't touch on my least favorite characters, and that was my least favorite like villainous characters or just characters in general. Yeah. One was Liv Schreiber's Sabretooth. I just could not stand everything about that movie with him. And then if I had to go on the cartoon, if I'm gonna go on the good side, it's Jubilee. I could not stand her. So talk about whiny and like
because
horrible.
She was attached to your boy. Like, like just kind of like
so horrible.
Yeah.
Like the whiniest. Every time she was on the screen, I just wanted to change the channel.
Yeah.
But you had to get up and walk over and turn it.
Wow, that's very true. She was just that whiny '90s teenager. You know what I mean? So like, she was like a timepiece. She was like just a reflection, kind of the time.
A horrible
really
reflection.
The cartoon.
I just want her to disappear.
I'm really looking forward to seeing some of the '80s. The characters.
Yeah, I'm interested. I'm interested to see how all this plays out. I'm kind of intrigued. I am really pumped up to see how all this plays out. That's for sure.
Because Sophie Turner, who's playing Jean Grey, the younger, the '80s version. I watch her in Game of Thrones, and she's had like all this like meek, like kind of like roles.
Yeah.
And now she's like she's kind of like coming into her own a little bit. She's looking kind of badass now. Yeah. She's starting to do it over the last few episodes.
I'll be interested to see everybody in this, how they tackle these roles that have already been done pretty well.
Yeah.
And then see how they put their spin on it, especially in the time frame that they're in. Well, speaking of the time frames, how excited are you for them to go to the next movie and it possibly be set in the 90s? Do they have to use that opening song? They have to do that.
I don't think they would.
They have to. No, they have to do at least a hybrid of that movie and make it fit into kind of a little more today's time.
What I could kind of
electronic.
I don't know. What I could kind of see it happen is if it was on like a radio or something, and they're like, "Yeah, man, shut that off," or just like kind of like an off,
like a Quicksilver kind of.
Yeah.
I would love to hear that in the open. I would be like, I'd be like dancing around. We'd be doing what we did at the beginning.
Yeah, I mean, I think I could kind of see it as like kind of like an offshoot, like a joke. You know what I mean?
I mean, they could do that. I would just love to see it. I would love.
It would be cool to see it.
I would love to hear that.
It would be a cool call out.
Oh, it's so good.
Yeah,
so good.
It would be a cool call out.
Maybe an after credit sequence that they have at the end, which I heard there's a really good one in Apocalypse.
Yeah,
I heard there's a really good and like a lot of people are kind of confused. It seemed like because I haven't read in anything, just like captions. It seems like people might be a little confused as to what the after credit sequence means.
Yeah.
So I'm really kind of intrigued by it. I'm intrigued by it.
Interesting.
I don't know. We had a new subscriber.
Oh, yeah.
Kind of get into that, kind of veer off a little bit, and then we'll touch on last 5 minutes. We'll talk about X-Men Apocalypse. Yeah. We had a new subscriber, Ryan O'Toole, who is he's a new movie reviewer on
cool.
YouTube. He kind of hit up and reached out. Saw my Nice Guys review, and he reached out and said, "Hey, can you check out mine? See if there's anything that you have any comments or anything." And so he's a new subscriber, so thank you for subscribing. Good luck on your channel, that's for sure.
Yeah.
It's an interesting world, the YouTube world. That's for sure. And then are there any other questions or any comments from the friends and fans and stuff on your page when you commented earlier that we can just kind of quickly touch on?
Well, one guy said that Wolverine was. Did we talk about? Yeah, Wolverine was the biggest miscast.
Is that Jay?
Yeah.
Jay, you're working your way out. I'm never gonna let you in here.
Matt Banover said the original X-Men was the best. So gritty, ahead of its time. The biggest bomb was obviously Wolverine's origins. It's almost unfair to put it in the same league as these. His favorite character is Stryker in X2. That's cool. Like it's like
it's a good.
I like it. He did Brian Cox did a great job.
He did a great job.
He did a great job setting up the human versus mutant struggle. He said he's saying that the miscast was Trask.
With Peter Dinklage.
In X3, Trask was Bill Duke, a 6-foot black guy, and in Days of Future Past, it was the Dinkles.
It's
Dinkies.
It's an
I put Dinkies. Is it Dinkies? No, he put Dinkles, but either one is fucking hilarious.
I liked Peter Dinklage,
and his favorite casting is Kevin Bacon, which I think is was very weird.
That is weird.
Yeah,
that's a different one.
Yeah. And probably Vinny.
I also don't like how he's the one who came up with
he likes Vinny Jones as the Juggernaut too.
Really?
Yeah. So it's got like really polarizing.
I mean,
stuff.
I don't mind.
Yeah.
I don't mind him as the Juggernaut.
Yeah.
I just wouldn't really, you know.
He
hasn't a huge role.
Yeah, he has kind of a cool. Well, in the comics, when they got like how he got his power and stuff, like the crystal and all that stuff, like that was kind of neat.
But they never even touched on like how he's like
Yeah.
related to Professor X.
Yeah, they never did.
Yeah,
it's hard because like with these ensemble movies, like if they're obviously gonna pick like the 2-3 people and like expand some of the stories and stuff like that, but like you never get an Aurora, you never get Storm's like backstory, where she came from, that kind of stuff. You start getting other people's stuff, but she never.
It's tough. I think they're gonna have a hard time doing like
I mean?
spin-offs, like solo films.
Yeah,
it seems like
and
they're
not even
having a hard
solo
time.
film, but some of the stuff you have your like your B and C role characters. You know what I mean? So like it's been that. So it'd be kind of cool to see Storm now going into Apocalypse. See kind of Storm as a younger person. I like that hair style that she has. It's not the traditional comic ones, but to go from that to see Jean Grey and Jubilee and all that stuff as the younger kind of versions of themselves.
So are there any other
No, I don't think so. I think we kind of talked kind of about everybody that kind of threw stuff on
throughout. Yeah. So how about Age of Apocalypse? You excited?
Yeah, I think so. I think I'm pretty pumped.
We're going to see it on Thursday.
Yeah.
Have you been to the North Haven Theater yet?
No.
No, it's delicious.
Okay.
It's nice. They have a bar.
Yeah.
So
really?
You can go there,
Nice.
get some drinks.
Cocktails.
They have like several different kinds of popcorn that's freshly made, like right in front of you kind of deal.
Yeah.
Like they have like the kettle corn, they have the regular popcorn. It's the best popcorn I've ever had at a theater.
Yeah.
I don't know if it's just because it's a new theater or whatnot, but my brother commented on it. I thought he was just kind of joking around. He's like, "Oh, this is like the best popcorn ever." Yeah. And we're walking in, and then I start eating, and I'm like, "Holy crap! This is really good popcorn. This is really good." They have like a little candy select section that like you can go get your own.
Cool.
Like the way bags and all that kind of stuff.
That's cool.
A lot of theaters don't do that anymore.
Right.
So yeah, it's the nice luxury seating for the IMAX screen.
Yeah,
sounds pretty good. It's nice. That's gonna be my go-to theater from now on.
Yeah,
in North Haven. Yeah, that's the go-to.
So
you can get the seats ahead of time.
Who in this movie are you looking forward to seeing the most? That's not Apocalypse, because we already got that out of the way. Like if you're like some of the newer characters or the revamped ones or whatever, or who are you like excited to see? Who do you think has the most approved to you, like that kind of stuff?
Yeah, I'm excited to see how they treat Cyclops.
Yeah,
I want to see how I heard that he does a good job. I am also intrigued to see the new Jean Grey. I'm kind of intrigued to see kind of all the other characters that are getting rebooted almost.
Yeah, right.
I'm intrigued to see all them. I really want to see what they do with Wolverine. I want to see. I mean, obviously, I'm a huge Wolverine fan. Yeah. They have really kept it under a rock of what's going to be happening with him.
Yeah,
he's going to be in it.
Yeah,
but nobody knows what.
And he's going to have his claws by then, because in the trailer.
I mean, I guess. I mean, you hear it.
You see that. Yeah. Don't you see it when he's walking?
I don't know if you. I can't remember if you see it or not.
I think
it's been about a few weeks since I've seen the trailer, but you hear it.
Yeah.
And that's, you hear Cyclops like, "We had a little help."
Yeah.
And snick. It's so, I can't wait to see how they play it, because obviously he's going to be doing some damage because all those people were down and you just heard those claws and that's it. So he did some serious damage, but I'm kind of intrigued to see what they do with him. I want to see how they treat his character, and especially going into the next X-Men Wolverine movie. Yeah. I'm pretty pumped about it. What about you?
Some of the newer people, I want to see how Olivia Munn does on like a big budget, as Psylocke.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah,
Psylocke's kind of a really cool character, and so far she looks the part, but the chops. I want to see how she does with that, because that scene where she's cutting the car, that part to me still looks a little funky. So
little green screen.
Yeah, I mean, so I'm hoping that that stuff happens and it's really just done well, done right. You know what I mean? And I really wish they would do Archangel, or Archangel.
Archangel, yeah.
A little bit more than they seem to have done.
Yeah, I never really cared for his character. He was cool in the
comics.
He was cool, but.
Because he's like, it's just a metallic version of himself.
It's tough to make him look cool.
It was weird that like he would clap his wings and like a missile would come out. But like that part of it was kind of funky. But like, you know, I dig, you know, where they're going with it now is that the feathers are kind of like an offshoot for his weapons and stuff like that. The Four Horses of Apocalypse were pretty badass.
Yeah,
so
I'm looking forward to seeing them. That's for sure.
Him doing that, and you know, is definitely cool.
And I picked this picture right here because he's choking my least favorite character. And I hope that she disappears after this movie. And unfortunately, she has come out recently and said how her and McAvoy and Fassbender have kind of made this pact saying that if one of them doesn't come back, they're all not coming back. And now I hate her even more because I want her to not come back. I want them to say, you know what? I want her to be like, yeah, go ahead and make the next movie without me, because she obviously does not want to be there anyway. I mean, it looks like she has a suit on, like she has a spandex suit on.
Yeah.
Horrible. Ugh. Gross.
Should be naked.
Yeah, she should. I mean, she is. That's what she walks around like.
I know.
Freaking jerk.
She's so upset. The timer?
Yeah.
Like, wait, what is that? We're talking about her being naked, and then like a spring noise comes off. I'm like,
I wonder if you'll be able to hear that on the microphone.
What is going on?
That'd be hilarious.
That would be fun.
So yeah, I mean, anything closing that you wanted to kind of touch on? I mean, I'm pretty fired up to see this movie, even though that the Rotten Tomato score isn't doing so hot right now. It's like in the 40s or low 50s.
Yeah.
A lot of the critics are saying it kind of falls flat, not enough action, all that kind of stuff, which, you know, happens in a lot of the X-Men movies. It's not like a complete action-packed movie. It's a lot of internal struggles and, you know, actually storytelling and all that kind of stuff. And so I'm excited because I want to see Apocalypse so bad.
Yeah,
I'm big in the villains.
I hope they do him well. Even like the Nightcrawler, like the younger Nightcrawler, like I'm interested to see how like that kind of how he kind of plays out with that, because I almost kind of see him kind of being like Peter Parker in Civil War. You know, kind of really angsty and quirky and kind of like doing his thing. Yeah. That way. So I would like to see that. But I mean, as far as
you want to know one of the characters who I wanted to talk about real quick before was on characters that you wanted to see, like good guys. That you wanted to see in the which is a character that I like because he's Wolverine's boy. And he's a character that doesn't get utilized very much in the animated series. He gets touched on here and there, especially at the very beginning. Is Morph.
Oh Jesus!
I want to see him because like he is what Mystique is, but he's not quite as skilled. Like he doesn't quite have that level of skill. And I like him. I like his character. I think he could be kind of a funny character to have in there. You know, he could like change into a dinosaur. He can do whatever he wants. He can just change into whatever. Yeah. So cool. I want to see him, you know.
Who do you have like a cast in mind?
Oh gosh. I mean,
if you had to pick one.
Who could do that?
Because like he's got like a.
You know who could play him? The guy who plays the Riddler in Gotham. I can't remember what the guy's name is.
Really?
Yeah, I think he could play him. He's kind of got that look to him, his face, his hair. He could, you know, he would need to get a little bit bigger. Yeah. He's a little too lanky, but I think he could do it. I think he could do that character. He seems like he's got the sense of humor to him in that show. So I think he could pull it off.
I don't know. Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, it'd be tough, you know, he's playing the Riddler going into another comic, but
go DC to Marvel.
Yeah.
Probably, you know.
Hey, it's not like
go where the money
stuff
is.
like hasn't been done like that before. You know, Green Lantern.
Yeah.
You know, how about just real quick, 2 seconds on this. What do you think about Jeff Johns taking over the role as head of the DC movie universe? Him and John Berg.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm very see. I was okay when I heard John Berg because he's actually a movie guy.
Yeah.
But when I originally, all the things were out there, it's like, you know, Jeff Johns is going to be the guy. He's going to be taking over, and he's going to be ruling with an iron fist and all that kind of stuff. And I'm like, no, what are you guys doing? Come on, DC. Like, you need a movie guy. Like, Kevin Feige helped develop, like, a lot of movies. Like, I think he was, like, part of the development for, like, the X-Men franchise. Yeah. He was, like, really involved in the movie universe, and then they made him the overseer of everything in the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Yeah.
Jeff Johns is a great comic guy. He can do anything he wants in a comic book movie because you have the freedom to do whatever you want. You can draw it, you can put it in there. Like it's the freedom that you have in that is so much more expansive than you have in the movie universe.
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of money that involves with a lot of that extra.
If you don't tell a story right.
Yeah. You don't have 15 other comics in a series to finish it off correctly.
Right. Yeah.
You have to tell it in a 2.5 hour time frame.
Yeah.
I don't need exact characters. You can change the character in there. And so that made me worried. But then I heard that John Berg is also involved. He's more of a movie guy. Like, okay, now I'm a little bit. I can dial down my rage on that a little bit. I can dial it down a little bit and then say, okay, now I'll be willing to see what happens. And I've heard a lot of good things from Suicide Squad so far. So
I'm still all like way in. So
there was a screener that happened for like a select group of people. Yeah, they came out and they were all like, great, this is awesome, great movie. So I'm pretty pumped.
I'm looking forward to it.
I'm pretty pumped for it. So it should be good. But as far as Age of Apocalypse goes, I can't wait. Thursday night, I'll have my review out hopefully Friday morning.
It's like my fourth most anticipated movie of the year, I think.
The X-Men?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah.
Is that low on your list, huh?
Yeah.
Wow.
Because you have this,
Suicide Squad,
Doctor
Strange.
Suicide Squad, Deadpool, and Civil War. Yeah. We're all above this one.
Really? Yeah. Deadpool was above this for you, huh?
Yeah.
Because of the marketing?
No, I was into it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you're a real big X-Men fan.
I like, yes, but I as the things have gone on, like the reboot is cool and like I've been in it, but I haven't gone to the theater and seen an X-Men movie in a theater since probably X2.
Wow. Well, we're gonna change that.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Changing that.
Yeah.
Just a couple days.
Yeah. X2, maybe X3 I might have seen in the theater.
Yeah,
but,
I saw that in the theater. I saw that in the theater twice.
But the newer, the two newer ones, I haven't seen it.
Wow.
I have seen the Wolverine. That's not true. I have seen the Wolverine.
Unfortunately,
the origin story. I saw that. I don't hate it. If you could like just get rid of the
Wolverine Origins movie is.
I don't hate it as much as everyone else hates it.
I know.
I do hate the Deadpool part. The Deadpool part's really bad. It's
towards the end.
It's very, very
bad. The beginning is cool.
The beginning, when he's Wade Wilson, he's fine. Yeah, I love that. That when they're in Wakanda, dope. When they're doing like all that, that's cool. Even when he becomes the Wolverine and all that stuff, he loses his memory and gets shot. Like a lot of it has a lot of good parts. It gets bagged on for obvious reasons, and I bag on it too. But I don't hate it. I don't hate it.
All right. Well, on that note, we will will sign off, and we will be. Where can people find you on the webs?
All at the same place, all at DJ Darth Vader.
Yeah, you can see it right below you. You can see it on his laptop, all that kind of stuff.
Oh, yeah, that's right. It's
good times.
Instagrams, Facebooks.
Anything else?
Twitter?
Snapchat?
No. I don't
Periscope?
No.
What's that on Spearman?
What? No, I don't use that either. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, that's it.
Yeah. You can find me pretty much everywhere at the Cinebros. If you look down here below there, boom. You can also, get over to youtube.com. Let's see if we can find that here. Boom! youtube.com/The Movie House Maniacs.
Yeah.
Go there, subscribe. We will give you a shout out on the next show, which I think the next one, we might do one this weekend. We're kind of a little more loosey-goosey now, trying to plan it whenever we can do it.
Yeah.
We're still going to try and touch on the blockbusters. We're going to probably do one for the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles one that's going to be coming out. I know Chad wants to be a part of that one, so we might have 3 people in studio for that day. If Brandon can come, I know he doesn't want to see it the opening weekend in theaters, but do you want to see it?
I do.
Yeah. So because I'm going.
My daughter wants to see it.
Yeah, I'm going. I think June 2nd is when I'm going to see it.
Yeah.
So I want to pre-screen it. I might take my son to go see it opening night, especially if I can get a screener for it.
Yeah.
But I want to show him the first one first, which I didn't really care for.
Yeah.
But I want to show it to him.
He hasn't seen it?
No, so I'm gonna show it to him.
Yeah.
Probably maybe this coming weekend, and then if he liked it, maybe go take him to that opening night, and we'll go instead of the 7:45 one, might go to the 5 o'clock one, and go see it then.
That's cool.
So we'll see what happens.
I looked at my daughter the other day, and she's watching Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 3, like the one where they go like back in time to like Japan or whatever. I'm like, whoa! I'm like, you're watching that. I'm like, because it's on Netflix now.
Yeah,
or it came on like in May. Mm-hmm. So she's like, just turn it on and like watch it. I'm like, what are you watching? She's like, Ninja Turtles.
Yeah.
I'm like, okay.
Riding horses, turtles riding horses.
She loves it. She's got a couple different Ninja Turtle shirts. She loves it. We've watched like the original 90s like cartoons on YouTube and stuff.
So good.
So good.
All right. Well, thank you very much for watching. We will see you guys again at the movie soon. And I hope you enjoy going to see Age of Apocalypse, because I cannot wait to see this movie. Yeah, where is it? Are you going to sign that shit off? Yeah. Hold on. Where is it? It's on. Here we go. Ready? I don't know. All right, guys. We'll see you later.
If you watch the show on YouTube, please click that thumbs up and subscribe to our channel. If you watched on iTunes, please rate and review us. And thank you for watching.